how great of a brother that you are, and anybody that's attached to you, I rearranged my whole schedule because remember at first I didn't know, and then honestly I couldn't. But uh, I'm happy that y'all have me here, and let's have a great show. I appreciate you.
Bet.
Absolutely.
Hello.
Hey, you guys.
Hello.
Welcome to Late Night Conversation. And we have an amazing show tonight, you guys. We are welcoming. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, but it's like your video is freezing up a little bit. So, but we can hear you though.
Yeah.
Go ahead, take it.
Okay, so welcome guys to another amazing episode of Winding Down Late Night Conversations with yours truly, celebrity publicist Nicole M. George, aka For Money J, and I am King Jacob, and we have another amazing show. And so, without further ado, I'll let our special guest introduce himself, and we'll get into the show.
Well, first of all, God gets the glory. Thank you for having this wonderful platform. I am Charles D. Clark. I'm an award-winning SAG-Aftra actor, transformational speaker, social justice advocate, youth mentor, and anything that God wants me to be. And I love people seeing them being happy. What a powerful testimony.
Okay, then you heard it first. So, thank you so much for coming on. And so, as I was, reading things up on you and just doing my research on you, and of course, we featured you in Access Magazine, and a lot of people have told me they have went and followed you since then. You know what I mean? And you
Grateful.
you played you played a lot of different characters. So before we get into your art form of acting, let's get into the journey of Charles D. Clark. So, what can you tell us about your journey?
Well, of course, God blessed me to be here. October 2nd, 1980. So I'm an 80s baby. Um, my testimony started when my dad died when I was 5, about to turn 6. He got killed in a fatal accident. And actually, he didn't die instantly. I actually saw when he took his last breath when we found him. He only got killed like maybe 2 miles from my house. And him and my mom supposed to got married 2 weeks later. So it ended up being a funeral, of course. And this, like any child, when you lose a parent or parents, it'll affect your journey in some kind of way. My mom was devastated. It was her first love. Growing up, I was trying to be strong for my mom, but as I got older, I played sports and I was in martial arts, baseball, football, even took up boxing. My mom tried to keep me in activities. You're hearing kids have both of their parents, especially the dads, hey, good job, son, good job, daughter. And I didn't have that, other than my mom. I wanted that manly voice, but I didn't have it. So it started, to put me in a place to where I was getting, I was envying, the kids who had both parents, and ultimately led me in the streets. Killers, pimps, big time drug dealers knew I was vulnerable, and I was willing to do anything to have a father figure. So that was my way into the streets. Became a gangbanger, ultimately a goon enforcer, and a lot of people should know what that is. They don't. I basically, made sure that the kingpin and other people in the streets were straight at any means necessary. So I've seen a lot, been through a lot. If God wasn't a forgiving God, I would have had a first class ticket to hell. I can tell you that much. If I was going to get into situations. And then ultimately, when you're in the streets, there's only two ways out. It's the graveyard or prison. Well, I'm still here, so I give God thanks for that. I did almost 8 years in prison, and this was my third year in prison where people say, well, when did you find God? I think I always knew God. I always prayed, here and there, even in the streets. but we just got close, and I realized that I was here for a different reason, other than violence and destroying my own communities and going at war. And because I never joined a gang to have some kind of reputation, I joined because I was hurt. And that's more dangerous than anything because you're willing to do anything to fill that void, especially losing a father. But the third year in prison, when you go to prison, for people who have went and it wasn't habit, you always have this tour person there. He's the guy that knows everything about the COs, who not to mess with, and all that other stuff. We call him the tour guide prisoner. He became like a mentor. In that third year in prison, he had a phone call. And I believe in one day his wife left him, and then one of his kids got killed in a wreck. It was something crazy, like both times in one day. And he broke down crying, and I went over there and started praying for him. And people who knew me was looking at me like, "You don't pray. You're not lit spiritually inclined like that. Like, where did this come from?" And it just happened. I just felt like, wow, the impact that I had drawn for praying over him. So people in prison started coming to me for me to pray over them and talk with them and mentor them. And then the chaplain gave me, a day a week to speak in front of people at the chaplain on the prison yard. And he told me, he said, "You have something that's powerful, and you need to take that with you when you leave here. You're going to change the world." And I didn't think nothing of it. So going to my last part of my prison bed, my grandmother, rest in peace, Lucille Haley Clark, she didn't visit me for the most of the time I was in there because she didn't want to see me in those conditions. But she finally visited me 8 months out before my release. Now, this is how the acting thing started. When my grandmother came, I'll never forget, my uncle and my aunt brought her up there, and she was in the all pink sweatsuit, silver gray hair with a jet black eyebrow. I mean, she looked the same. And I was so happy, I put on my greens, going to the visitor room. And my uncle was setting my grandmother down. My aunt came to me. She says, "Nephew, look at me. Look at me. Listen to me." I said, "What's going on?" She said, "Your grandmother is dying. She got several brain tumors and she has dementia. And right now, your grandmother thinks the prison yard is basically, she thought it was like basically the military base. My dad was in the military. And she thought that I was my dad. So my aunt was like, anything that she thinks, you have to play along with it because if you try to make her think otherwise, it'll strain her position." So imagine the whole time for 2.5 hours in the visiting room, looking to the eyes of my grandmother while she's dying right before me. I had to become the man that I already lost. I mean, that's some pressure. I was able to keep my crying inside. I was able to bottle it in. I was able to remember things about my dad. So when she asked me questions or bring up something like, for instance, "When you going to take out the pig slop?" My grandma had a farm. "When you going to pull the tobacco? When you going to bring me the chicken?" I was able to respond to her like I was my dad. Fast forward, as she was leaving out, the CO called me over. And there was nothing, out of the ordinary because usually they'll do a random check to make sure you get no contraband breaking things from the business. He told me, he says, "Charles, I'm not here to, to shake you down. I know you good people." He says, "What I just saw you do for your grandma was an Oscar performance." He said, "Man," he said, "I know you had to do it because of condition." He said, "You should be an actor. The way you did handle that situation, the way you act like your dad," he says, "Man," he said, "that was a movie right there, in so many words." I didn't think nothing of it. I'm just like, this, he crazy. I leave out of the visitor room. I never forget, I vomited. I was distressed. I was just, because I had so much kept up in me. I got released. The first place I went to is my grandma's house. And, it was my first time being there with her not being. And she died at home in her back room. And I never forget, I went to her back room and I smelled her quilt. It smelled like peppermint and lavender. And for some reason, I stayed up, something hit me and God spoke to me. And this came to the point to where when I started doing my transformational speaking and my testimony, when everybody asked me about, do I remember my first audition? I said, I do. It was my grandmother. She gave me my first audition. And that's what sparked me to becoming an actor. So I started looking at some things. I went back to college. My daughter was born the next year. But the same year I got out of prison, 2009, uh, what happened was I landed a gig November. So I got out of prison February 18, 2009. I landed a gig November that year. Small role. And my first time being on this set, I realized that acting was something I was supposed to do. And actually, my grandmother sacrificed her last moment to show me that. So I never got into acting because I want to be famous, a celebrity, and the lights and the attention. I could care less about that. It's simply because paying homage to my grandmother. And I think for that reason is why I push so hard. I've driven so many hours. I sacrificed so much time and training and pushing my brand solely to pay my homage and respect to her. And I take those lessons that I've endured. I take the journey that I've, have yet to fulfill, but progressing. And I try to tell people and show people things. They don't have to go through what I went through. That's part of being a teacher. It's part of giving back. And when you do stuff like that, you meet great like-minded people like y'all too and others around the world.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and ask, Miss Nicole Jordan, aka Providing Jada, to jump in here and go ahead and get her PR thing on because they have amazing questions and they're just amazing people. So I'm gonna go ahead and let her jump in and I'll just piggyback off what she's saying.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I am having technical difficulties over here, and I'm so sorry. I don't know if my internet is where the location that I'm at. I'm somewhere else. So,
okay.
If I blank out, I need you to go ahead and jump in. He needs an amazing.
Okay.
For me, what I heard you say was that you begin with your father, and you bottled up all of your emotions. Not one time, not one inkling, not one iota had you play or anything in your life.
So the last part again, get froze.
No, I'm blank out. So throughout that journey, when you were talking to your grandmother and you had to act like your father, prior to that, had you ever any acting or any stage plays or any?
The only play I was in, I remember back in third grade, we did a play based on Old McDonald, Head of Farm. Yeah, that was about it. And that was it. Yeah, nothing in my soul, in my mind, in my existence, I ever thought I would have became an actor. Never.
Okay.
Yep, it was my grandmother.
So just thinking about the past and thinking about your previous life on that early, I'm pretty sure in that world you stay people or few of you guys or few of your friends, how do they respond to you being playing on Empire? I mean, just going so far in your career, being that to the film.
Well, I had a conversation with one of my colleagues the other day, and I'm glad you asked that question because it's like a ping pong table. When you have my friends who actually know me from the streets, it's unbelievable to them. But then some of them said, you know what, I can see that happen because we used to like hang out and stuff, when we weren't doing all that craziness, at times we have just chilling. I imitate people or I'll, get to these characters. So maybe it was pre-existing about me knowing it. But a lot of them was shocked. It was like, wait a minute, like giving God the glory and then now you're on these shows, Empire and TV One playing detectives. I mean, I was a criminal. I was a high-level criminal. Now I'm playing detectives, on TV One and ID channel. And that's the presentation that have changed people. It's just like the people that know me now. They could never believe that I was this monstrous, violent guy in the streets beforehand. And I think that's what shows how great God is and how powerful God is that you are your reflection. So whatever you present in the mirror is what you're going to see. And
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, I got tired of what I was seeing in the mirror in my former life. And I'm loving what I'm seeing now to even progress to be a better man. I mean, look, I still have my ways sometimes. Sometimes the devil trying to ride on my back, and that happens because when you do God's work, no matter how you're doing it, it's part of the tug of war, and that's what faith comes in at. But a lot of my friends have turned their lives around because they see me on these shows and just see me change in person. I've had people who had kids who was about to commit suicide that changed their life around based on when I used to do my transformational speaking, and we have like the live or whatever where people can see it, and praying with them. There's directors, other actors from A-list to B-listers who I pray with on set and talk with them. A lot of people who's rich, their kids, they want to be a part of the streets. I don't know why, It's sort of like these football players or basketball players get caught up in a drug ring or whatever. You got millions of dollars. Why are you still part of the streets? We as artists are supposed to use our platform to give back and pay it forward in the most positive way, ever. This is part of this is our part of our responsibility. So to see people lives change based on because of my testimony and what I'm now doing, I think it's the biggest award.
I agree. Thank you so much for that information. And just being an actor, I saw you on there also too. So being the fact that you have this, do you even feel different, or because you're so natural, you're so laid back, you just seem like you just seem so humble, and your integrity is through the roof, set up through the roof, and I love it. So I'm just wondering, do you ever feel different? Do you ever feel outside of Charlotte?
I would say, and it's every time, Empire. I know I've done a lot of other things, but it's the truth. Empire launched my career. Empire is what made me realize that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Taraji and Terrence Howard always been my inspiration. This is way back when I was in the streets. They both have a testimony. They from the streets as well. With me, I had a great job in the psychology field. And when I heard about Empire, the setting is in New York, but their old hood is Philly. So I'm thinking either they shoot Empire in Philadelphia or New York. And we're shooting in Chicago at Center Space. Chicago's almost 14 hours from me. And I was like, I really don't do no extra work because I was already doing stuff in independent films and TV ones, whatever. And I was like, man, I got to be on that set. So I took the liberty of driving up there as an extra, didn't get seen. And when I first saw Terrence Howard, the first person I saw was Terrence Howard, Trey Byers, and Jesse. Anyway, it was like, whoa, I'm here. This is a show, this is a hit show. And something told me Charles Key coming back. And I was talking to some of my colleagues. Well, some of this is removed out of my journey. No, man, don't go up there to be an extra, man. You already doing stuff, man. But you do an extra, gonna set you back. And I prayed about it. It was actually stressing me out. I'm just like, man, if I can get on this, man, I know it would change my career. So I listened to God. My daughter even inspired me. I think she was 4 or 5 at the time, and somehow she believed in me. So I drove to Chicago 7 more times, so a total of 8 times in a month and a couple of days. I would say just 30 days. 8 times Chicago, 14-hour drive. And the 8th time I went up there, what happened was they had too many extras, and they had a scene with Exhibit, he played Shine, and the director, the assistant director came to him and said, hey, he said, look like you, man, you've been to prison or something. He was just joking. He didn't know that I actually went to prison. So they opened up the dialogue to some of my testimony. He said, so you really, I said, yeah. So they used me that day. It's a backup goon. We was on set for like 18 hours, okay? And it was actually Exhibit's birthday. When you're on set, 3 o'clock in the morning, Empire got restaurants on fleek. You know what I mean? Like locked down. They ordered like steaks, subs, wings, all this stuff. And it's just the power of Hollywood. Like wow, like this is, you know, um, how they take you from one set to another, and seeing people that you've been looking at for so long actually in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? This is. I got a good feeling about this. I said, I was still an extra, a backup. I said, I got a good feeling. 2 weeks later, I got my SAG from House of Cards, which they started in Baltimore, which is like an hour for me. Empire called me, and they said, Charles, how you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing great. How you doing? I'm thinking I done did something wrong. I'm just like, what's going on? They were like, we want you to be one of Stein's main goons for the entirety of his character. I said, come again? It was like, yeah, would you be one of his main goons? I was like, okay, wow. So I went up there a couple more times, season 3. And then season 4 is when he actually made me like, I don't want to say the lead goon because I want to take away nothing from the other goons that was there. And I don't want to say like, it's all about me. It's not. But they, rightfully speaking, they presented me more as the main goon. But shout out to the other guys that played the goon. I will make that very clear. People might get jealous or might take it the wrong way. Mm-hmm. And I got love for my homies, who was there, who played them. If they, so. But the case being is that when that happened, I realized that my career was going to take off. Because when they were showing the screenshots, when they were showing this, oh, Sean got Suge Knight on his team. It's a wrap. It was just, and then Exhibit is so down to earth. I mean, he's a hip hop icon. He's a brilliant actor, and he'll say stuff. He came a long way, but you remember, him and Rock did their first main movie together, the Gridiron Gang. Amari Hardwick was just rising. He had a little small part in it. You know what I mean? So when you around people like that, especially you start seeing, you remember Demi Moore was on there, Forrest Whitaker, Felicia Rashad. I mean, these are legends. And I'm sitting here around them, and now I'm not an extra more. Now, I'm one of the main, the goons. And the conversations are different. It's like you earn that. Mm-hmm. That you're part of the family now. And I think that's what people have to understand, being an extra is not something should be looked down upon. Everybody have to start from somewhere.
Absolutely.
It's when you take that seed. I look at it as being a backwards a seed, and you becoming a principal actor is the flowers, the harvest. So I tell people, just don't lie about it. Because a lot of people, there's some people from Empire who was actually extras and people in the crowd. I'm not meaning off the topic, but this is a lesson learned. Don't ever lie about what you're doing on set because you never know who's watching. Mm-hmm. So for anybody out there, if this is one of the things you take from this interview, don't lie about it. I've seen a lot of people their career get ended before it got started. If you're an extra, say you're an extra. And when you bump up, people respect you more because of your journey. And plus when you're an extra and you're saying that you're an actor, like you're a principal, it's a disrespect to actors who put in that hard work.
Yeah.
So make sure you have to clarify. But yeah, after Empire, everything's pretty much a wrap. I was getting auditions, I was getting parts, features just because of Empire. And it was just Terrence and Taraji, Gabby, Forrest. I mean, the whole crew. Even from the directors. I only see Lee Daniels one time. But Steve D'Amato and Senna Henry and all of them, the top dogs, it's a close-knit family, and we still support each other. Mm-hmm. And to this day, it's the best experience of my life. I'm part of history. I'm part of the #1 Black drama show. That was our Young and the Restless. That was our, all my children. We broke records, especially when the Exhibit came on. We broke records on Fox that was just unbelievable. The first show to decrease the ratings of a major sporting event. I remember when they had the baseball game, the Major League Baseball Championship, They lost 30% of ratings because they canceled Empire on one of their finales on the same day as the game. So when you see that right there, and I look back, I say to myself, I'm truly blessed. I could have been in the coffin. I could have been doing life in prison, but God still brought me this far because there was more for me to do. So that's what keep me humble. Um, I'm the guy on set. If I send extra, might have came on set late and they missed out on the food. A SAG act or principal actors, we can have access to the food. I go make them a plate. You like your home? What you want? That's the guy that I am. And people talk about that. So I just humbleness will get you a long way, and I'm just grateful. So.
Right. And Charles, it's funny that you are on here today, and 2 weeks ago we just had Tiffany Coleman on here, who also played on Empire, and she played as one of Exhibit's baby mamas.
Yeah, she came. Yeah, she came in on the field. Because I remember when they was casting for that, and I thought she was a perfect fit. Shout out to Tiffany in her career. Like I told her, it's been a while since we talked. It's been a minute. But like I told her, I said, listen, just get on there. Don't worry about how big or small the role is. Just get on there. A lot of people they hate. Well, you just shines, baby, but you ain't even been on show. It doesn't matter. The fact is, she was on there. So kudos to her.
Period.
I can't stand when people do that. Oh my God! Even if you was an extra you got seen on there, that's something big. How many people can really say they've been on Empire?
Right.
Yeah.
And they took a lot of people to Chicago and brought a lot of people in here. And outside of being a PR, my kids through college. I drive 18-wheelers, but I used to drive first, and I used to sit across the street. And I used to watch you guys in that building when you guys, I knew every time you guys did something because you guys would be riding by, and I used to just sit there and I used to say, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to just see what I can do. I'm going to try to just get a part, but I never did because I was so tied up in the trucking industry, and I wish I had just gave it a shot.
If I would have known you, I would have definitely put a word in for you. It was three people that's put a word in for. Only one person. Well, one person they didn't show up, which was stupid. But that's they regret. But Empire loves to bring new faces. And So and a lot of people don't know. Even though I was on there season 3 and 4, if you look at season 6, the first episode, you will see me as Cookie's new bodyguard.
Right. When you're standing in the back, coming through the door on the side.
Yeah. So
watch you guys all the time.
So I'm gonna give you the little secret to that. I can say it there. There was when people write, they always have the what if moments to where they can make bring a story from it. So we know Lucius killed Shine. Shine was the biggest villain in Empire. Shine and us, whatever. He was the biggest. He didn't want to blow Lucius' leg off. That changed the course of the whole Empire. Right. So what happened is that it was an idea of basically saying maybe, since I look different, with the suit and stuff on, whatever, I'm coming to get a job at Empire just to find out what happened to my boss. You feel what I'm saying?
Okay.
But of course we know, I don't like saying his name, JS, had his little moment and, but all's forgiven, whatever. And that was just a whole...
All of it?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
I will say this, because even though, I tell people I still have integrity. Everybody does something bad in their life. A lot of people doing things there, just say come out the closet with it. Everybody got those skeletons. Because Jesse was a great actor. I mean, he was a big part of the show, no doubt. I mean,
right.
No matter his, sexuality, whatever, I don't judge people. And I got people in my family that's gay. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree to it, but I don't hate nobody neither. You can't have hate in your heart. I do remember TMZ was just crazy. They was acting like extras to try to get into the building and to scope out what was going on. It was helicopters coming across center space, mad helicopters, to where we couldn't even shoot.
Wow.
So we had to send, military, helicopters kind of, hey, it's a no zone, because it was getting that bad. I mean, it was the biggest story. No matter what he did, it was the biggest story of that time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because when it first happened, everybody was calling me, and we was hurt. We was ready to go up there and whoop somebody's, yeah, and then when it started, it was like, so, I remember Empire was like, if anybody actually do an interview specifically about Jesse, don't say anything, blah, blah, blah. You get blackballed, so. But it's out and about, it's out now, what he did, and, he's found guilty. All I can say, I pray that he find a balance and peace with himself. And, we all make mistakes. I mean, it is what it is. I'm glad I got 3 seasons out of it, and been a part of something. But it just goes to show you, you if you do right will come back to you. If you do wrong will come back to you. That's just what it is. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Fox was able to give us an extra, because really we only got 5 seasons, not 6. But because they respect Taraji and them so much, and Terrence, and also Cena and Lee and all of them, that 6th season is what made the show syndicated. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's why we get the extra season. But it's to this day, if that wouldn't have happened, honestly, I believe we was still. Because we was #1 show when he did that. Mm-hmm. There was no reason for it to get canceled. We had at least 4 more seasons, Mm-hmm. And it was just getting good too, because I was like, okay, when Exhibit died off the show, I was like, well, it's over for me. It's done. It's gone. And when they called me back and said, hey, we want to bring you back in season 6. We just trying something out. I said, okay, cool. And then, and we thought we could beat the thing with Jesse. Like, hey, can we just write him off, whatever? But he had too much sauce in the situation, political, racism, and then the homophobic stuff that he said. So, yeah, but we still move on. We forgive, and I'm blessed to still be working. I'm blessed still to do what I do, and I just want to see everybody win. So as long as I can use that, because no matter where I go, people say, "Oh, Empire, oh, you the Sean's man, who the Sean's bodyguard? I'll take a picture. Hey, my son was this. Can you talk to him, mentor him, or my daughter?" And I do it. And I think that's Empire was not only a blessing for my career, but it's also blessing others, because for people to still love that show and respect that show and be fond, of being a part of that, cinematic history, it's a great thing. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Charles, is there a potential spinoff coming where Cookie Lines becomes the boss?
Well, I'll tell you this. There was in talks of that. It was actually out in public. I think it was in Hollywood Reporter. I don't know what happened. I hear that ABC was trying to pick it up, so I don't know. I hope they do, because my contract is still open.
Okay.
I need to avenge the greatest villain of Empire history, okay? Or either, whatever the case may be. But we can only hope for it, it was crazy because Power, when I was shooting Empire, I had an opportunity to audition for Power, but it was a conflict of interest because, that was like the Power and Empire was like East Coast, West Coast at the time, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as soon as they necessarily cancel Empire, I said, oh my God, Power's going to ride this thing out. But Power was actually a great show. I love the whole cast through there. I support them. I wish I could have been on this one, Tommy's version of it.
Right.
But he's going to have several seasons of his character. So, don't be surprised if you see me on there sometime enough. It's like Empire. I didn't come into the 3rd season. God's timing is everything. But Joseph Sikora, he definitely acknowledged my testimony And he did say it on Instagram. I posted a screenshot on Facebook. He said, hope to see me on set soon.
So, you know what I envisioned seeing you on, and I was surprised you wasn't on there. You know, cause the Forrest Whitaker show, Godfather Harlem. I think you fit. I think you fit well.
You know what? I'm gonna show you how God is funny at times. I love God so much. But my agent had just said, "Oh my God, Godfather Hall, they just renewed season 3." She says, "We got to get you on there." I was like, "I'm ready."
Okay.
Forrest Whitaker
is a legend by far.
Look, I'm gonna give y'all something real quick. Okay, when I first saw Forrest on Empire, it was a scene where we did the protest. It was downtown Chicago where we used to enter the Empire building. Forrest in that purple suit, he was fly with it. And I was sitting on the little wall when you come down the sidewalk. That's where everything was set up at. And Forrest come over, he just leaned against the wall. And I am, 6'1", 268 pounds. And I felt like this next to Forrest. As far as his presence, it's like Terrence. Terrence has the same presence. And he spoke, hey, how you doing? Hey, it's a great day today. Great day for filming. You just gotta love this stuff, right? And I'm just like, yes, sir, Mr. Wood. Oh, call me Forrest. You're part of the family. And he just walks off. And I'm just like, Forrest Whitaker just spoke to me. I was a little bit starstruck. But seeing him and Terrence when they work together and how they build, their characters, cross dialogue in the scene, it's some of the most beautiful magic that you can ever witness. And it's the type of training you can get that you only can get on set. So when I see him on Godfather, I understand deeply how Forrest is because I actually watched him work on set. And Godfather of Harlem, I mean, come on.
It's phenomenal, man. Phenomenal.
Bumpy Johnson, Lawrence Fishburne, you did great in Hoodlum, but sorry, buddy. Forrest is yeah.
He'll beast. And then, I was listening to Michael B. Jordan talking about how he got personally trained by Denzel. And he was just saying how just people knowing that you're a protege of Denzel Washington, and how his phone started ringing off the hook once they knew that Denzel was his acting coach. And he was like, and so when you speak of Forrest, that's right in that rim with like Denzel and Forrest and Samuel and all these guys, you know what I'm saying? So, right, Tom Hanks. So with that being said, you just remind me of what Michael B. Jordan said. You know what I mean? It's just he said Denzel in the coaching days, Denzel just brought him on the set and told him not to say anything. You know what I mean? Just watch and learn. And he asked him, what notes did you take down? And he said he had his notes because he knew that Denzel was gonna ask him. So did you take any notes while you was watching? Because it's very imperative that when you have somebody that's legendary like that, they're not just bringing you for their health.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Terrence the same way, and I think I'm a big Terrence Howard fan. Before I worked with the brother, he dropped a lot of jewels on set, and Terrence is very underrated. Terrence can act. Come on, Is people act like Empire is what made him? No, Terrence is a legend. Hustle and Flow. Come on, let's.
Just thinking that in my mind. Him and Taraji.
Yeah. They. Everybody you see doing what they're doing now, people are counting them out. Remember, Terrence went through the thing with the domestic violence situation, but we know the true story. That's why he was able, to overcome it. And Hollywood was trying to blackball him. And see, again, about unity. Remember, Baby Boy didn't make Taraji. Hustle and Flow was really what put her there, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Terrence, with Terrence being, making that bridge happen, Taraji paid it forward because he told them, if you didn't play, Cookie was the first character developed for Empire. And she said, if y'all don't get Terrence to play Lucius, you got to be crazy. I just can't do it. I don't see anybody else. That's when Terrence was in a bad situation at the time. And if I believe, I don't know no verbatim, but basically, you remember Peter Pablo was a guest star on Empire.
Right.
And I think that what happened was something happened with Terrence's credit card or something. They got declined or something. PD gave Terrence the money, paid for his room or something. I guess when he went to, I think that when he went to for the first meet for Empire, and then Terrence paid him back 10 times fold and got him on the show.
Right.
And again, so we need more of that in unity in Hollywood, just in general. But when you look at that though, Taraji, Taraji left DC with a couple $100 in her pockets, a newborn child. People say she was too old to be an actress. And look at her now. And basically everybody that stood by her is part of her team. Her best friends, her sister, April Henson, shout out to her too, and her glam squad or whatever. And then you look at people like Mahershala Ali. This brother has been grinding for 13, 14 years, and Moonlight is what really put him out there. And he won every award that year: the SAG, the Oscar, the Emmy, the NAACP. It just comes down to just you got to put in the work, and you have to, like you said, sis, you have to listen. So many people so caught up in look at me, I'm an actress, I'm an actor, and I'm a celebrity. I'm known. It really bothers me that people want the easy way out and the easy way in because they feel like that they on set. Like they'll tell you, don't take no pictures on set. You always got that one person doing the screenshot. Look at me. Oh, I'm getting my makeup and hair done. They do makeup and hair on the extras. They have to, so that don't mean anything. Don't act like, you're bigger than what you are. Learn the craft. You're getting free training from legends. Learn, absorb it, so that's why it's not for everybody. Everybody's, is not going to make it in the industry. You got to have very tough skin. You have to be able to take rejections. I remember Terrence told me, this is my Terrence Howard voice. I'll never forget this. Terrence is random. You could be sitting at your mark and he'll come around you. He'll be like, you have to embrace acting. It's like magic. You have to nurture your baby. You have to hold it close to you. And I'm just like, to myself, like, okay, Mr. Howard, okay, I think I get it. And then I realized something. As a father, with my daughter, who's 11 years old, my beautiful daughter, Sine, from the time she was born to now, I did my best to make sure I'm there for her, nurturing her, being there for her, as well as her mom. So when you take acting and do the same thing, your acting is it's a newborn child, and it's your job to see it to grow. So that's how I take my acting career. It's other than my daughter, it's my baby. I have to make sure it's right, and it's long hours, man. Long hours, people have no idea. If you're not in it fully invested into it, if you're just there for a hobby, just want to be an extra, okay, fine, cool. But when you're in it full time and when it's your career, it's blood, sweat, and tears. I don't want to give nobody no false information. Oh, it's easy. No, it's one of the hardest careers you can be in. But stick with it. If you train, I try to tell people all the time, you have to train. I don't care how good you think you are. Yes, some of the people, I was born to act. Train. Even Denzel take training. Jamie Foxx take training. So who are you? Yeah, and give God the glory.
Right, get your skill level up. When I took acting classes, like I said, and that's one thing that they tell you when you do stage plays, acting classes, whatever.
Yeah,
remain teachable. Remain teachable, because if you cannot remain teachable and you get that grandiose behavior, that you have it, somebody will come in and shut you right down. And I mean, okay, it's good you can cry on set, but what about that other stuff? Can you get into that zone? Can you make the audience feel like you feel? You know what I mean? Can you put us in awe? So I definitely agree. That's one.
Yeah.
one thing people should take away from this. Please, I mean, and that's in anything that you do, whatever field you want to be in, and whatever it is you do. I remain teachable still, regardless of being a PR. I remain teachable. I have my whole crew, my whole team. We're on. We order stuff, and we go to conventions and conferences, and we have a week whole class sometimes with people that I feel that are greater than us. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
anything that
Yeah.
we remain teachable.
Well, I'm trying to think what I seen this from. It was basically saying that a great actor is not a person that can cry on cue, so to speak. It's a person that cry and try not to cry. Or it's like a drunk. The acting is not a person that act like a drunk. It's a drunk that act like he's sober. That's acting.
Oh.
Okay.
And when you talk to people who supposed to be, I am a classical trained act, that's what I said. So I asked him, I said, so what is your level in cross dialogue or scene study? What do 86 mean on set? 86? It means to get rid of. Things like that, back to one, all of these, they don't understand, I think I heard, no, do you know it? Because those are things you have to, when those directors tell you this, or back three, 86 this, give me 3 beats, then go to your second line, or bring the second line first, give me 4 beats. You have to, that's outside of the script, and there's so many other layers to it. I mean, I've been training for a minute, they did lab school of dramatic arts in DC, which I'm gonna probably go back there as well. There's great training there. Right now, I'm attending Juilliard. Of course, I do it online. They open back up, so I plan on going there at least for a week, probably next month, just to be in the class and be there. That's the one school in the world. I took a course at with Othello, to be part of the Shakespearean Club at Harvard. And I've done tons of, I did master classes, with Kevin Spacey and Samuel Jackson, did training with Tay Diggs. I just keep on training, and of course, like I said, on set, you'd be surprised how many of those legends and A-listers and B-listers or whatever will sit down with you and give you a good piece of advice you can't get in the school. Greg Allen, Williams, he's a legend, Baywatch, he worked with John Travolta, Denzel, and Remember the Titans. Then he'll write the Gemstones. He gave me so much jewels on set when I was in the first season of Righteous Gemstones as one of his main deacons. So, like you said, you have to be teachable.
So, Charles, speaking of people, I'm a fan of a lot of actors that's, in my eyes, is legendary. And one of my favorite actors, man, and I need to see you and him in a film together, is none other than my man Wood Harris.
Who's also Empire. Yeah. We was not in those scenes together, but he was on there. But yes, oh my God, bro, that brother. When I first saw him on Remember the Titans, I mean, his range is sick, man.
Yeah, man.
And then his brother,
right?
His brother, what was that movie I first saw him in? Was it Sugar? What's it called? Sugar Hills? Well, Sugar something, I believe.
When I first seen his brother, he was one of the main characters on Law and Order 2. He played detective, and then also he played on Diary of a Mad Black Woman with Tyler Perry. So he's been quite a few.
Oh man, yeah. Oh man, they hated him, man. They hated him. And that brings back what Forrest said. Forrest said, whatever you, this when he was talking, had a general conversation with everybody. Forrest was like, if you are made to be a villain and be hated, you better make sure that everybody hates you. If you're supposed to be funny, you better make sure that people laugh.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to feel your emotions and feel your whole intellect as an artist, And Wood Harris, Nobody liked him in Empire. Then again, it was like a love and hate with his character. That's what I like about Wood Harris. He can. Let's not forget Paid in Full. I mean, come on.
Right. Classic.
Even Cameron,
Yeah.
I don't condone snitching, but he played. Yeah. But that was a perfectly picked cast. Perfectly picked. So hopefully we'll work together. And if we do, I'm going to let them know that you said it. You put it into existence.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So
Yes.
man, it sounds like your journey's been remarkable, and God is blessing you repeatedly on this journey, man. So but question, man, like you did a lot of roles for different casts and stuff like that. So are you writing and casting your own movie or series as well?
No. What I am doing, I'm getting. I got 2 producer credits. So I'm learning the producer side because I feel like Sid said, teachable moments. In order for me to become a great actor, I need to understand what the director and the producers are conveying to hit those marks. So if I'm on the
Okay.
side of the camera, I can see on the side of the lens. So eventually, once I conquer a certain level as an actor, I'm going to get into that side.
Okay.
Everybody's saying, Charles, your life story needs to be on the big screen. I've been told that by many. And I am very creative. I have some very great ideas. But yeah, I want to conquer. I want to get a little bit further in my career, and
But Charles,
this
when you say the big screen, I can't see yours as a movie. I need to see this as a TV series, a TV
hey,
series with different seasons, at least
yeah.
5 to 7 seasons. You know what I mean? Because
Well,
it's
you
been
know,
I mean,
but
from you losing a parent and your mom trying to hold you together with the sports, and then from you entering the street life, with the hustles, the pimps, the pushers, and then you have to be in behind the wall and learning who you was behind the wall and what God gave you a purpose for. Then from you being a transformational speaker and a coach to mentor people, and then when from you coming into the acting and still being a transformational speaker and coach while you're into the acting world, like yeah, bro. It don't just need to be a movie. It definitely need to be broke down in different segments like a TV series.
well, I know who I look. I spoke who my executive producer is going to be.
No
and,
doubt, man.
and
No doubt.
it gotta bring sis on. You know what I mean? Hey,
Right,
she
So,
yeah.
with that being said, man, I just want to give a great listen. I've been following your manager for a long time. I remember when she hit me up a couple years ago about this distribution coming for artists, and to see where she's taking it from then into now is phenomenal. And then I remember when she first introduced you on the book, and she
Yes.
told people what you was gonna do and what you was gonna become. And so I just want to give Miss Tiffany Gaines a shout out. I
Boo
call her my
boo.
LA. I'll call her my LA Connect because
The Queen of LA.
no matter what she is doing, if I inbox her, if I email, she definitely responds. Like, she's not a person that's not down to earth. She's a person that wants to see people win as always, and she has helped a lot of people. Phenomenal.
Oh yes, even legends. I mean, look, from Nipsey Hussle to Dr. Dre to a lot of people behind the scenes. And I mean, when we connected, it was like I was truly blessed. And to be her first and only actor thus far on her roster, that carries a lot of I gotta represent.
Hmm.
But Tiffany is my sister. She's my mentor, my manager, I mean family. And not forget her better half, her king, Demetrius. Faded
Yeah,
Beast. He's doing big thing. So I include them both. But yeah, Tiffany is phenomenal, and I can think of a better manager than her. And as you know, she's no nonsense. She
I
laughs,
know.
but yeah, when it comes to business, and she's heavily connected,
Right, right,
heavily
right.
connected. So
And and just let her know I gave her a shout out. So, and
Of course.
I just want her to know that we definitely, appreciate you being on here with us, and just want you to give your signature shout outs, if you would, because we'll be getting out of here in a few minutes.
Well, I'll say this. I got to shout out to God. Of course, we did Tiffany. There's so many people. Anybody who's watching this who's involved in a part of my career, my journey. Thank you all. I appreciate you. Especially to Raji and Terrence. Also, George Dibble, who I did bulk off with, and we do a bulk off origin. We're about to start back shooting. Well, they start back shooting already, but my scenes I think start next month. But just everybody, my mom, I love my mom so much, Charlotte Vivian Jennings, my daughter, everybody, my whole family, even the people that did me wrong, I love them too. That's how you, as a man of God, can't stand them, but hey, I still, but most importantly, I want to shout out y'all. The reason why is because a lot of actors and actors who so-called supposed to be known, and they're not even known, someone such as myself, it's people like you that gives me a platform beyond my acting, my testimony. And I think, a lot of actors and actors, in the business, always think that they're doing y'all a favor. But no, you're doing us a favor. So I'm speaking on behalf of the genuine artists in the arena of unity and God's love. Thank you both for having me, because for you to find something in my journey that's worthy to build your platform, you don't have to be Oprah Winfrey. You don't have to be Tamara Hall's show. This is y'all show. This is y'all podcast. And I got much respect. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
Right. Not a problem.
Because people really don't acknowledge us.
Yes.
So they say small timers, but we got something to offer too. We got something, and we bringing some noise too. We doing some things too.
I'm gonna tell you this right here. There's nothing small in the room but the room itself.
Amen.
That's it.
Amen.
So there's nothing small time. People always say, "Hey Charles, so how was it working with Taraji? How was it working with this person?" I said, "Oh, how was it working with me?"
Right.
I just and I love them, but I'm building my name, my legacy, my brand. Oh, shout out to Latasha too. She's a casting director. I want to give her a shout out. She just finished casting for Safe House, which is on Lifetime, starring Bora Kojo and Nicole Parker. I think Latasha Bradley, I think is her name, and she's phenomenal. But yeah, look, y'all two are doing great things. I will come back on y'all show anytime. I mean, really. And whatever I can do to support y'all, if I'm on a red carpet, I'm on set, if I shout you out, like I have a lot of things going on, but like I post when I'm on set. So if you see me, hey, Brother Charles, you shout us out, I would be glad to. I genuinely love seeing people win. I love it.
Definitely. But this is what I want to ask you, man. Your management, Miss Tiffany, if we can ever get her on here, I would be humbly and respectfully appreciate that, because she definitely has a remarkable journey.
Oh man, I tell you what, I'm going to personally work on that. As soon as we get off, I am going to text her.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much.
And tell her she can do it because honestly, since this is live, y'all the first interview. I've done over 150 interviews from iHeartRadio to SiriusXM. Y'all the first person that gave my manager a shout out. I respect that.
Wow.
Yeah, y'all the first.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I don't bring up, because that lets me know y'all did y'all homework. Because y'all understand the foundation. You see what I'm saying? It's not about
I want to tell you about your production, about you being a producer, and about the
she beast mode, man. Like, listen, bro.
Look, we family now. So whatever I can do, if this,
So when I see her, man, and it's like, me and my partners always have this conversation about bad females in business, and I say, man, I'm gonna need you to put this name in your phone, Miss Tiffany Gaines, and I'm gonna need you to just Google her, bro. And when they come back and they just look at me like, bro,
Yes,
A-list manager, Forbes,
yeah,
Rolling Stones. I mean, she's making history right now. But
yeah,
she already
she
made
is.
history. Let me take that back. She already made history.
She did, bro.
Yeah.
I said
So,
Gaines, she bad.
yes.
Hey, listen, man, for her to have what it was close to, what is it, 10,000 artists on the one distribution?
That was a historical moment. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
Yahoo News published that as the mainstream news when she did
Right.
that. She's the only person that ever did it. Yeah. So
It's
I am
on our
honored.
own.
Yes.
Right.
SNS
So,
Global Entertainment, baby. Yes.
SNS Global Entertainment. Yeah.
Here for exquisite PR firm that'll separate us among. I went back over a 5-year span on Miss Gaines and you, and I was she's at the top of the notch on all segments, on all Yahoo News
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. See,
She
yeah. And
definitely. I was surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good connection too. You know what I mean? Y'all, it's definitely y'all too, because you're a celebrity PR. You know what I mean? That'll be a great thing too. And I can't. I don't know the dates just yet. I don't want to speak too far ahead, but when that time comes, I'm gonna make sure that I put this in my Google thing reminder. But there's a lot of events coming up this year. So if y'all can make it, I can get y'all plugged. To get on the red carpet or because
Definitely.
it's not about it's not so much about me. People need to know what y'all doing as well. Like what I mean. I mean, if they know. I mean, y'all elevate. You're not small time. Trust me. The smallest person is the person that thinks small. Y'all doing big things. So don't even think. I mean, I'm honored to be on y'all platform. So whatever I can do to help y'all, and I tell
Right.
people I do it because it's right. I've done
That's
so
right.
much things behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know. A lot of people is blessed behind the scenes because of me. I don't post on social media. Social media is not for me as a diary or if I have an issue with somebody. If I got a problem with somebody and I got your number, I'm going to call you. Or we can see each other face to face. I don't do the social media craziness or whatever. I am a respectable actor that's rising in Hollywood, and I have a lot of people that follow me and watch me. And I'm just here to make people happy, to put something into their life that is meaningful, and hopefully it can take them to a place to where they find a medium with peace, joy, and happiness, for God's glory. So, as I always say to anybody, is give God the glory, and victory will be your story.
That's right. That's right, brother. That's right. So, man, we just want to thank you once again for coming on to the Winding Down, late night conversation, and this has been a great interview, spectacular. And we just want to say we appreciate you sharing your journey, and man, I just need you to go ahead and just follow your purpose, follow God's plan, and follow God's plan so you can be inspired to stay inspired. You know what I mean?
Hey, that's what it is. I mean, hey, no matter how many parts to a car, if it ain't got gas, it can't go nowhere, right?
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
So,
So
the
man, we
fact that you
appreciate you.
stayed ready so you didn't have to get ready.
That's right.
there
I
you go.
love the fact that you.
There you
I
go.
love the fact that you did that, and I know that you're gonna go so far.
Oh yeah, I just turned 41. I'm still
First
young.
movie that you produced,
I'm
wrote,
ready.
and I cannot wait to hear it. I can. The
Well,
red carpet or your hearing of it. I don't know how far in the future it will be, but call us.
we're talking about this year, and I tell you this: when I get my first Oscar Emmy, y'all make sure y'all be there, okay?
No doubt. No doubt.
Yes,
All right, okay, I'm holding you to it now.
it's funny.
No doubt. No doubt. No doubt, man. So you take care. Have a blessed night, brother.
All right, God bless you. Thank you again, and thank you for everybody that's watching. Thank you.
Peace.
Peace.